Hey there, I'm Julie, and this is the Married to Addiction podcast. If you're here, then you're probably what I call my secret sister. We're in a situation we never asked to be in and fighting a battle we never wanted to fight. We're faith-filled women who are married to an alcoholic, and it affects every inch of our lives. If that sounds like you, then this is a safe place for you to land. Married to Addiction is a faith-based podcast where I help you find the tools and strength you need to navigate your husband's addiction without losing yourself in the process. So please subscribe and tune in as often as you can, because your husband's recovery is important, but so is yours. If you've been listening to this podcast for any length of time, I'm sure that you have heard me mention the Secret Sister Circle, which is my group coaching program for Christian wives of alcoholics. Today, I wanted to let you know that there have actually been quite a few updates and new things added to the SSC since the last time you probably checked it out. So one of the things I wanted to make sure you knew about was now we have in there what's called targeted roadmaps. These roadmaps are basically a super fast line to get you the answers that you need and the help that you need for a lot of really difficult situations that we come up against. So if you are feeling super overwhelmed or immobilized by your circumstances, you need clear direction and you need it now. You don't have time to sift through a lot of information. So these are focused, easy to follow guides that walk you step by step through some of the most difficult situations that you face. So no guessing, no searching, just straightforward guidance that helps you get some answers and breathe easier a lot more quickly. Now, of course, you also do have access when you join the SSC to the entire SSC library, which contains dozens of different lessons and tools and worksheets and all types of things to help you navigate pretty much any situation that you could come up against. But I did want to make sure that you knew that there are new targeted roadmaps available for you as well. So a few of the ones that are ready in there right now cover things like boundaries, communicating with your husband, reducing the chaos in your home. There's one about your husband's addiction. There's one about your husband's recovery. There's one about navigating the future. That can be a really tough one for us, right? There's one about feeling triggered, pulling yourself out of a spiral. There's more coming as well. So these are going to be a place that you can go when you need clear guidance really fast to get you through what you're going through in the moment. So if you have not yet, or even if you have before, but have not within the last couple of weeks, I would like for you to go check out the Secret Sister Circle page on my website. So just go to marriedtoaddiction.com. You will see a drop down at the top that says programs, and you'll just click on Secret Sisters Coaching from there. I hope you decide to join us there. Hello, and welcome into episode 106 of the Married to Addiction podcast. This episode is called When You're Triggered by the Sound of a Bottle. Have you ever felt your heart race when you hear a bottle open? Or maybe the familiar sound of a glass clinking or ice hitting the bottom of a glass? Does that send your mind into a tailspin? If so, you are not alone. Because for many of us, wives of alcoholics, those little noises, the clink of a glass, the pop of a bottle, the sound of slurred words even, are associated with so much more than just the act of drinking itself. They're tied to memories, frustrations, disappointments, and if we're being honest, a lot of fear. When these types of things happen, you might feel your body instantly tense up, or your breath catch in your chest, or your stomach drop, and all of that from something just as simple as a sound. Because for us, those sounds aren't just sounds. They feel like warnings. They're signals that something hard might be about to happen. So today I want to help you understand what's going on in your body and your mind when that happens. And more importantly, I want to give you a tool that you can use in those moments to calm your body, soothe your heart, and remind yourself that you're okay. So why do these sounds trigger us? Well, obviously, when we hear those familiar sounds, our brains react as if a stressful moment in the past is happening all over again right now. This is actually your nervous system doing exactly what it was designed to do, which is to protect you. It's called conditioning. So over time, your mind has learned to associate certain sights, sounds, and smells with difficult or painful experiences. So when you hear that bottle open, your body says, oh no, we've been here before, this could be bad. which makes your heart rate spike, your body tense up, and your thoughts start to race. Maybe the sound of a beer can cracking open reminds you of the beginning of a long, unpredictable night in the recent past. Maybe hearing slurred words bring back memories of a horrible argument or loneliness when your husband went out to the bar and was gone for hours. These associations are really powerful because they come from powerful emotions that we have experienced before, and they're often outside of our conscious control. You may remember me saying that I was triggered by hand sanitizer for years after my husband got sober because it smelled so much like alcohol. But here's the good news. What is wired can be unwired. And the more we understand what's happening inside us in these types of issues, the more we can start to shift our response. So let's take a closer look at how these triggers show up physically so we can meet our bodies with compassion. So let's talk about these physical responses that we have to these triggers. So think about the last time you were triggered by a sound related to your husband's drinking. What exactly happens in your body when that happens? Does your chest start to feel tight? Does your stomach get a knot in it or maybe drop? Does your breath become shallow, or maybe you suddenly get sweaty? Maybe you get cold, like you feel a chill run through you. These are all signs of the body entering what we call fight or flight mode. And this is your nervous system saying, get ready, something bad is coming. The problem is that even if there isn't an immediate danger in that particular situation, your body still reacts like there is. It doesn't differentiate between a memory and a present moment. It just responds. And when that happens, it can feel really hard to think clearly, let alone calm down. But the more that we recognize what's actually happening in those moments, the more we can remind ourselves this is just a reaction. This is not the full truth of what's happening right now. So let's talk about how to gently guide your body out of that triggered state and back into a state of feeling safe. So how do we do this? Well, I've been doing a lot of studying for the last few months actually about the vagus nerve, which I find truly fascinating. And that is the very thing that is responsible for activating that fight or flight response when it feels that you are unsafe in these types of situations. So today I want to share with you a really simple but effective grounding technique that you can use in moments like these when those sounds hit, the bottle opening, the glass clinking, whatever it is for you, and your body and mind immediately start to panic and spiral. So this grounding technique is basically a self-hug. And it signals safety to your body and to your vagus nerve. So what I want you to do this with me right now if you can. Of course, if you're driving, don't take both hands off the wheel. But if you're somewhere where you can, I want you to just practice this real quick. So cross your arms, both of your arms across your chest, crisscrossed over each other, and put your right hand on your heart. So it should be on the left side of your body. Put your right hand on your heart. As you do this, close your eyes if you can, but you don't have to. But as you do this, you're holding on to yourself and say to yourself, I'm safe, I'm okay. This kind of nurturing touch that when we give it to ourselves, it activates the calming part of your nervous system, and it helps replace that fear and tension that you're feeling with reassurance and love. So when you do this, you want to stay there as long as you can, repeating those words, I'm safe, I'm okay, until you feel your breathing start to slow down some. Maybe you want to say a prayer in that moment. Just concentrate on your breathing. Bring your heart rate down, and you can come back to this as many times as you need to. It's definitely not going to be a one and done type thing, especially when you're living with an addicted person. You may have a few times a night where you have to go do this. You may get triggered by the first beer and you go and you do this exercise and you're like, okay, feel a little better in this moment. And then 15 minutes later, it starts all over with the sound of another beer being opened, and so on and so forth through the night. So you can come back to this as many times as you need to. And you can also practice this when you're not triggered. As a matter of fact, that's a really good idea to do that, because when you practice it when you're not triggered, it's easier for you to be in that state of calm, and your body starts to learn what that feels like, what calm and safety feel like on a regular basis. So it's really just a good thing to do anytime. So let's pull this all together. We are going to create your personal response plan. So whenever you hear a sound that's a trigger for you, which for a lot of us, again, is that beer bottle opening or something having to do with, alcohol being poured or opened, let's create a bit of a plan that you will have that next time, instead of getting blindsided by this sound, you can think to yourself, okay, wait, I know what to do. So the first thing we want to do is we want to acknowledge the trigger. So this starts by naming it. So you can say in your mind or even out loud, when I hear a bottle opening, for example, my heart starts to race. So whatever it is for you, when I hear X, Y happens to me. That's because this is a trigger for me, and that's okay. So when I hear a bottle opening, my heart starts to race. That's a trigger for me, and that's okay. I want you to know that you're not weak or crazy or whatever by having these triggers happen. This happened to me on a daily basis, and it happens to pretty much all the wives of alcoholics that I deal with, because again, these are reactions that we're having based on things that have happened in the past. So you are having a normal response to something that was painful, that your body remembers, that your mind remembers, that your subconscious remembers. So step one is acknowledge the trigger. The next part of it is to use that calming technique that we just talked about. Because once we've acknowledged the trigger and we know what we're dealing with and we've named it, we're like, okay, I know what's happening in this moment. I know why I'm feeling that way. And I know that this is the way that I'm feeling because of that. Then we use the calming technique. So the goal here is to shift out of an automatic reaction mode and pull yourself back into your body. Gently and intentionally come back into your body. The third thing that you can do here is to pre-write a short phrase or one or two phrases. So we already talked about how when you're doing the calming technique, you can say, I'm safe, I'm okay. You can have a couple other things that you have at the ready too. So think about those ahead of time. So maybe you say to yourself, I'm feeling overwhelmed. I need a moment to breathe. Or you even just say, okay, pause, breathe, you're safe. Anything that is signaling to you and your body safety and that you're okay in that moment, whatever it is that makes you feel comfort in those types of moments. Write them down ahead of time, put it in your phone notes or put it in a journal that you usually have handy somewhere so that you can reach for it the next time you need it. You might want to just write down, these steps all together. Step one, acknowledge the trigger. Step two, do your grounding technique, your calming technique. And then step three, say your short phrases that you have thought about ahead of time that make you feel safe in that moment. Also, you want to make sure that you have a safe space that you can go. So the fourth step would be designate a place where you can go if a trigger feels overwhelming. Sometimes you got to just step away for a minute. I know I did. So maybe this will be your bedroom. Maybe this will be the bathroom. Maybe this will just be a chair by the window in, another room of the house. Maybe it's going to your car for a few minutes. Maybe you can go to your backyard and sit down for a few minutes. Just somewhere where you can breathe and reconnect with yourself and with God for a few moments, where you can find your safety, where you can find your peace, where you can calm yourself. Try to be consistent with the space that you choose, because if you are, over time, your body will actually start to associate that space with safety. So the act of just going there will help you begin to reset faster. So again, step one, acknowledge the trigger. When I hear X, X happens. That's a trigger for me, and that's okay. The second step is to use your grounding technique. The third step is to pull in those phrases that can help calm you down in that moment. And the fourth step is to have a safe space designated that you can go to if you need it. If you're struggling with triggers today, I want you to know something very important. There is no shame in how your body is responding. There is nothing wrong with you. These are just protective patterns that once helped you, and they're just trying to keep you safe. But now you're learning how to move beyond those moments that just feel like you're trying to be in survival state to trying to intentionally find calm and healing. The more you practice tools like these, the easier it is and the more peace you'll find. So try to do this on a regular basis so that you can reset yourself faster moving forward, because you can choose how to respond. You can calm your body, and you deserve to feel safe in your own skin. Just take it one moment or one trigger at a time. As always, thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next time. Hey, one more quick thing before I let you go today. Do you follow Married to Addiction on either Instagram or Facebook, or both? If not, I would love to have you join me over there. It's a great place to stay connected with everything that's happening with Married to Addiction. I post updates about my podcast episodes, of course. I post about my freebies. I post about my programs. I post encouragement in the way of Bible verses and things like that. I also post just like some helpful little teaching nuggets sometimes too. So I really think that you would get a lot of value out of that as the wife of an alcoholic, and I would love to have you join me on either Facebook or Instagram, or both. You can find me at facebook.com/married to addiction, or just at married to addiction on Instagram. I hope to see you there.